Now that we're approaching the holidays, right? The holiday season, everybody's trying to travel. I look at the outside, all the snow. Sometimes we start having cancellations and the flights are delayed. And I heard about this man who was having a similar situation. He really wanted to go to his destination. He was at the airport and he was screaming to the woman working at the counter. I mean, what she could do? The flight was delayed. But this guy was screaming. And she was so polite, so professional. Continued to work here with the computer, smiling at the guy. The guy eventually left, right? And another person on the line who was witnessing all this approached to this lady and said, I'm in awe. I mean, I can't believe the way this guy was treating you. And you were smiling and you were polite. You might be a very religious and spiritual person. And she said, religious? Not at all. You see, he's going to Chicago, but his baggage is going to Bangkok. Now, I want to talk to you today about how can I help? How can I help? That's the name of this sermon. How can I help? And the inspiration for this week's sermon is the life of Joseph. Okay, and I don't know if you remember, he was put in jail. He was accused of something that he didn't do. It was very bad, and he ended up in jail. But before that, he was also treated very poorly by his brothers. Remember what they did to him? The brothers were very jealous of Joseph. Very, very jealous of Joseph. They weren't happy the way they perceived that their father was treating Joseph differently. And also they weren't happy that Joseph was a person who had big dreams. And he had big expectations of life. And I don't know, maybe that deserves a little bit of psychological analysis of what happened to their brothers, right? Who perhaps found themselves in a life where they will always be shepherds working with their father's animals. But Joseph had big dreams. And he made, now we know, the mistake to share those dreams with the world. To share those dreams especially with his brothers, right? And, well, you will expect that his brothers, right, after realizing that little Joseph has so much potential and has such big dreams of life, they will be somehow supportive. Nope, that's not what happened. What they did is, as soon as Joseph started to share their dreams, they started to create a plot to get rid of him. And eventually, they did just that. They got rid of Joseph, and he was sold to a caravan of Ishmaelites that they were going to Egypt. And I was realizing how many times we go through the same situation. In fact, to a certain extent, I can see the same pattern happening right now with the Jewish people in Israel. It's almost like we are not allowed to have big dreams, to have expectations, and to have like an amazing goal. We are not allowed. Instead of the world supporting all our ideas of freedom, equality, you name it. No, they're trying to get rid of us. And I see some kind of parallel here with the story of the Torah. But that's not what I want to talk to you. And it is that in the same way that Joseph encountered the evil deeds of his brothers, he also encountered some amazing people along the way. Yes, he was sold as a slave. But when he went to Egypt, he met a man called Potiphar. Potiphar was some kind of Egyptian wealthy man who immediately recognized in Joseph all the talent and potential that he was sharing with the world before, but nobody wanted to cheer him up. The contrary, Potiphar, an Egyptian man, recognized the potential in Joseph, and he decided to mentor Joseph, to take that potential and to make it a reality. So what did he do? He gave Joseph the opportunity to manage his entire household and his entire finances. And what happened? Joseph took that everything that belonged to Potiphar, and he multiplied that. And all that thanks to the opportunity that this total stranger, Potiphar, gave Joseph after he saw the potential. But eventually, he's treated poorly there by Potiphar's wife for different reason, and Joseph finds himself in jail. Can you imagine? In jail. But even in jail, the Torah says that it was the jailer that also saw in Joseph something special. And instead of trying to push him down, because sometimes we don't like people that they are better than us, right? When they start shining and they start showing certain attitudes that we don't have, certain skills that we don't have, sometimes we have the tendency to try to push them down. But no, the jailer saw something special in Joseph, and what did he do? Also, he mentored Joseph into taking care of the jail and helping him. And what happened is Joseph did an amazing job. Eventually, even Pharaoh, that we don't even have nice things to say about the Egyptian pharaohs. But that Pharaoh also saw something special on Joseph and put him in charge of Egypt. And thanks to that, Joseph was able to save the world at the time by providing certain guidance to Egypt to save during 7 years, and they could have enough food during the famine to share with the world. So this is something that I realize that we should all learn, because sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what is our personality? Are we like Potiphar, the jailer, and Pharaoh, helping others when we have the opportunity? Or are we like Joseph's brothers, that as soon as we notice that somebody is happier than us, smarter than us, wealthier than us, we try to push them down? And this is a question that we all have to ask ourselves. And I believe that all along Joseph's journey, he also has to ask himself that question. And he also at one point realized that the way to go in life is helping others succeed. Not to be self-centered, but help others when they need it. Especially when we are in a low place. Because most of the time, when we are doing okay, you will say, yeah, it's easy for us to go and help. But when we are going through a low, you will say, why do I have to help other people? I want other people to help me. Look where I am. Joseph did all the opposite. When he was at the lowest stage in his life, when he was thrown to jail for something that he didn't do, he was still, or I guess he learned that the way to go is to help others. Look what happened. He was one day in jail, that there were two people that were also in jail with him, that they didn't look okay, right? They looked sad. In fact, the Torah uses a very interesting phrase that Joseph said. Joseph looked at this baker and this butler. They used to work for Pharaoh. There was an accusation. They were thrown to jail, right? So they were like usual in jail. I guess maybe they were happy people, because Joseph asked them, Madua peneihem raim hayom. Why do your faces look so bad today? You know, every language, I guess, they have expressions like that. Well, you look like beep, sometimes we do that, right? So that was an expression in the old days, I guess. Madua panim raim, pneihem raim. What do you look so bad, right? And I was thinking, well, hold on a minute. You know, this is an amazing thing. Joseph is in jail. Joseph is going through a low in life, and he still has the emotional energy to face these two people and say, hey, you look bad. Can I do anything for you? How can I help? How can I help? And then what happened? They share with Joseph the dreams they had, right? Joseph interpreted those dreams, and because of those dreams, Pharaoh noticed him, and then he was made the viceroy of Egypt. So listen to this. The rabbis explain that Joseph didn't reach his goal until he learned to help others. When he was able to get out of his poor me mentality and said to somebody else, how can I help you? That attitude unlocked the final blessing that it was in store for him. And I believe this is something that we all have to learn, because I would say that the entire people of Israel in these days are going through a low. Every time we open the newspaper, we watch the TV, we realize that we are going through a low. Lots of bad things are happening. Accusations, attacks, anti-Semitic garbage everywhere. So then, when we feel that way, and we read this parsha, we have to ask ourselves the same question again. Are we like Joseph's brothers, or are we like Potiphar, the jailer of Pharaoh? Are we there to take our law and impose it into somebody else, or from that place to try and help other people? And I realize that the answer is we have to be like Joseph. That no matter where we are, we always have to be ready to say, how can I help you? And if we can do that, I believe that it's going to happen exactly what happened in this week's Parsha. That attitude of the Jewish people to still be able to give our best is going to be what is going to unlock the next blessing that is in store for us. And this is the right attitude that we have to have whenever we face life. So I would like to wish you all Shabbat Shalom, Chag Hanukkah Sameach.